Welcome to Truth and Company Podcast. I'm your host, John the Truth Dioria, and today we got a great show for you. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the social media and on the news, and I know a lot of fans want some things cleared up. I know there's speculation out there. They've been making comments about things, so hopefully today on this podcast we're going to answer a lot of your questions. We're going to talk about the Minnesota Monsters. Now, if you haven't heard of them, they're the new branding of the Duluth Harbor Monsters, who were here for the last two seasons and walked away with two championships, and now they're no more. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, kind of what happened and all the new things that are going on with the new branding of the Minnesota Monsters. So definitely make sure that you check out the Minnesota Monsters at MN Monsters, MONSTERS.com if you got any more questions or you want to know what's going on with this new team. But right now we're going to bring on the quarterback of the Minnesota Monsters, who is actually the quarterback of the Duluth Harbor Monsters, who led them to two championships. And before we do that, though, I'm just going to talk briefly about what's going on. So, yes, the league has moved to the AF1. So that's the Arena Football 1 League, which is actually a step up if you don't understand that. They have a new CEO and a new general manager, which is going to blow your mind because I knew it blew mine. So if you're familiar with basketball at all and the Globetrotters, I know you're saying, why are we talking basketball? We're talking football. I'm going to get to that. The son of the Globetrotters legend, Meadowlark Lemon, is now the new CEO and general manager of the Monsters. And his name is Meadow Lemon. He's got a lot of experience. This is a big get, honestly. I'm not sure exactly how they got him. I don't really care how they got him, but I'm glad they got him. The new head coach is Darren Clark. I might be wrong, but I believe he was already with the Duluth Harbor Monsters on the staff as well. So he has stepped up now to take the reins. And unfortunately, Tony O'Neill is no longer the head coach. We wish him well, whatever he's doing. And hopefully, in some fashion, we'll see him back with the team. New location. I know everybody has seen this in the news as well. Amsoil Arena. Yes, let me say it again. Amsoil Arena will be the new location where they play. They will no longer be playing in the deck. There's been a lot of speculation on social media why this move was made. From my understanding, from what I was told, yes, it has to do with the fact that they have kickers now. They will be using kickers in this league. And it has to do with the television and the broadcasting. So that's basically kind of what I was told. So there should be no more speculation. And there's going to be a lot of new players. I know you guys have seen a lot of new signings. Some players are out, new players are in. That's the way it goes with football and any other sport. Cheerleaders. The cheerleaders have a new name, the North Shore Knockouts. So if you see that name, that's what that's all about. Those are now the cheerleaders. I believe some of the cheerleaders that were the Duluth Harbor Monsters are coming back. They probably got some new cheerleaders as well. There's a new director of operations. There's actually a new mascot. I know everybody's seen the new logo. There's going to be a new mascot. There was like a thing out there asking, what name should be. I'm not exactly sure if they've actually named it yet or if they're still picking names. So we'll talk about that later, hopefully. A lot of new sponsors. And some of the games will be televised. So for some of you fans that can't make it to Duluth and were upset about the last two seasons, you couldn't get here for whatever reason, or you couldn't get tickets for whatever reason, now you will be able to watch some of your favorite players on television in some of the games. I don't know which games will be televised. I haven't seen the entire schedule if that's written on there yet. But definitely, once again, if you have any questions and you don't know the answers, go to mnmonsters.com to get all your answers. Follow this website. Follow it through the season. Follow it for the players. Find out who all the players are. And that should answer all your questions for the staff and the players. All right. So now let's get to the man that led the team to 2 championships, and hopefully he's going to lead the team to the next championship. AF1 professional quarterback for the Minnesota Monsters, Vonte Johnson. How you doing, Vonte?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How you doing?
I'm glad that you took time to get out of bed and come on the podcast. You're looking pretty fresh for a guy that just got out of bed.
Nah, I got my babies with me, so I've been out of bed for a while now.
Okay, it's one of those deals. So you didn't just jump out, throw a hat on, and get on the podcast.
I've been up for a while because versus all that good stuff.
So if you were listening to anything I just said, was there anything I missed as far as new situations going on with the new team, or anything that you want to add?
I think you hit everything. Obviously, we'll get to talking about it as we talk about it, but I'm pretty sure you hit everything.
Okay, so there's nothing more new that I didn't touch on, or anything incorrectly that I said as far as the new team goes.
Well, there's nothing more new yet,
Okay.
Still,
Actually, you know what? I did forget one thing, and I do apologize. I did skip the fact that there is a new owner.
oh yeah. Well,
He actually came on late in the season as an owner of the Duluth Harbor Monsters, but he is now the solo owner of the Minnesota Monsters, and that's actually Jacob Lambert of what's his company? J&B Manufactured Homes. He was a huge sponsor. Then he became on late through the season as an owner, and now he's actually the solo owner of this new branded team, correct?
sir.
So, yeah, I'm going to give him a shameless plug. Anybody out there looking for a new home or needs a new home built, J&B Manufactured Homes, go get yourself a new home. And who knows, you might even be able to talk him into some season tickets if you buy a home. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know. He might kill me after this podcast for that, but we'll see. Maybe you can work your way into a pair of tickets for a game or something if you buy a new home. But anyways, Jacob Lambert is the new owner, J&B Manufactured Homes. So you heard it here.
Jacob,
So anyways, Vonte, are you getting ready for the new season?
Can't forget about Bree. Jacob and Bree.
Huh?
I said we can't forget about Bree.
What about him?
No, Jacob's wife, Bree. She's
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't actually know. I was told he was the solo owner, but I guess technically, yes, his wife is part owner as well.
Yeah, she got us back rolling how we should be, how we supposed to be rolling. So
Oh, okay. So what is her part? Tell me what does she do then?
It's kind of just like everybody who has a strong woman with them. You know what I'm saying? Every man has a strong woman. You do, the big boy stuff and then all the stuff behind the doors and all that stuff like that needs to be done for you to even get your show going. That's basically what she does. Take care of us, take care of the team, make sure everything's going right, make sure all our money's going where it's supposed to be. All that good stuff.
And her name is Bree?
Yep, Brianna Lambert.
Okay. All right, well, let's make sure we give her credit then. And if anybody remembers if anybody got a hold of those sets of cards or packs of cards before the end of the season, I personally have this set of cards with Vonte Johnson's signature on the top card. So I got myself an autograph card of you. I don't know how many other people were lucky before the season ended, but I definitely know I got one, and I'm holding on to it.
Yes, sir.
Unless somebody offers me big money, I don't know, but we're holding on to it. So how is the training getting ready? Have you started training for the new season yet?
Well, I never stopped training. Like I said, it's like a greater opportunity, a greater league, greater competition. So, I mean, for the most part, the beginning of the off season was more so of getting some good weight on me, getting stronger and all that stuff like that. And now it's getting closer to be more of conditioning, weights, and getting in shape and getting ready to not get touched.
Yeah, speaking of that, I saw a post that you made. You're working on those skinny legs this season.
Yeah, like I said, obviously I'm not planning on running more or nothing like that, but just moving in the pocket, moving around. You watching
Okay.
before it goes.
So now with all these new changes, I know when they first, had the Duluth Harbor Monsters, that was a new team coming in. You were the quarterback. There had to be a little bit of pressure and expectations on you. And I think you proved to them that you could do the job. I mean, 2 seasons in a row, you won the championship. And then that was a little bit of relief. And then all of a sudden, boom, all these changes, new team, new bigger venue, new everything. So now do you feel a little bit of pressure and expectations on you again?
I mean, this is what we wanted. This is what I prayed for. You know what I'm saying? So as far as expectations, yes, obviously I think the expectations are greater, which is why I'm gonna work harder. We gonna figure it out no matter what. But as far as the pressure, what I'm saying, like I said, this is what you pray for, you pray for, you pray for. It's one of those things that you know people help me see the picture clear. So as me praying for it, I kind of was actually waiting for it and wasn't just blindly praying for it and then bam, now I'm in the moment. Oh, what do I do now? Like no, it's like it built up. It was like a perfect moment. So I mean, I don't feel any pressure. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, obviously I got a job to do. I got you know expectations from people, for myself, from myself. So I'm gonna just work harder, and get it done. That's it.
So
No pressure.
are you one of those guys though that like to carry it all on your shoulders and be like, go ahead, give it to me, man, because I'll prove to you that I can get the job done. Are you one of those type of guys that'll say, just come with me and we're gonna take it to the top?
Well, I feel like most good quarterbacks, that was typically the reason why they signed up for that job. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I said, I love coming through. You know what I mean? Not letting anybody down, doing what we need to be done. Like I said, I live off that stuff. I thrive off that stuff. So yeah, I love the big expectations and the pressure for whoever think it's pressure or whoever wants to be pressure. I love those situations.
And let's just make it clear, if people have never seen you play or never been to one of your games and they see this lady screaming and yelling and they're wondering who the hell this lady is, your mother is your biggest fan. Let's get that clear right now.
Always has been, always will be. I remember I used to play baseball in high school. And baseball is pretty much it's pretty quiet. Obviously, the dugouts got their chants and stuff like that. But as far as cheering the whole time, it's not really a thing in baseball. Well, yeah, no, my mom the whole time, every single pitch I threw, every time I was at bat, every time a ball came to the outfield, everybody's looking at her, just hear screaming all the time. That's how it always been.
And you actually were a basketball player as well, too, right?
Yep, yep, yes, sir. I was actually a three-sport athlete in college.
Wow. Okay. So, how many teams? Let's talk about your journey a little bit getting to where you are on this team. How many teams have you actually played for in college or semi-pro, things like that? The journey to get where you are.
So I went to a few colleges before I actually even got on the field. I had, I was a little kid from Louisiana, I used to make bad decisions real frequently and stuff like that. Not thinking they were bad decisions and stuff, but yeah, I seen my way around. Went to a bunch of different places. First, I went to UL, University of Lafayette. Then I went to Berlin, and then I finally found my way in Fergus. Got to Fergus. Finally got in the first when I got to Fergus, I played basketball. So that was fun. Like I said, I got in trouble, and nobody wanted to take me that year for football. I guess it was. So I went to play basketball that year. It was all region and all that good stuff like that. But like I said, I actually liked basketball more. But my basketball coach from high school always told me I would never be a professional basketball player. I'd be a professional football player. So once I got here, those guys are bad. I think they were like 1-8 the year before or something like that. And I used to tell them all the time, like, man, I'm gonna play for y'all next year. We'll be way better than this. But you know how it goes when you get to college. I'm a basketball player, so nobody believes me and all that stuff like that. Then yeah, next season break all kind of records, put up all American stats, win the most, like more games they won the last 20 years, win more playoff games they won, like stuff like that, all that stuff. And then those bad decisions kept following me. I hadn't hit that growth spurt yet per se. So made another bad decision. Ended up having to transfer to another school. Went to Botno, another junior college. Got hurt like the second play of the game. Missed like 6 games. Ended up playing the last 4 games. Still made all region and all that good stuff like that. Then Javante Kyler came around, which is my son. So I was supposed to transfer and go to Livingstone in North Carolina. And I ended up staying here in Grand Forks, where I live now, to take care of my son. So when that happened, I didn't play football for like 2 seasons. I was like, I was done. Everything was over with. And then the Grand Forks had, like I said, my pro team, and I went to take them out and all that stuff like that. Those guys are cool. I love all those guys, but you know, it was just, they were a decent team, but like the competition and stuff they played against was really bad. So I didn't play here. But then one of my friends in Fargo ended up messaging me, telling me they played all against all the guys in the cities and all that stuff like that. So yeah, I went and played semi pro in Fargo first. And like I said, it wasn't a semi pro for me because those guys put me in like magazines and stuff like that, like around the state of North Dakota. So I mean, I never got like a real semi pro experience. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like a professional experience, but you know, those guys helped me pay for gas to drive there because I didn't stay there, helped me get hotel rooms and stuff like that when I was playing semi pro. So, you know, all that stuff. We ended up winning the championship, you know, beat a bunch of good teams, stuff like that. So then I went play semi pro in Minneapolis, and then that was like, you know, the team that basically like ended up talking to this agent, and then he ended up like sending some film out. So then we ended up playing against a bunch of professional guys in Florida. We made it to the national championship against the Detroit Ravens. We ended up playing. They had a defensive tackle from the UFL. They had like 7 arena guys, and like I said, I never played arena or anything yet, but we played them in the national championship, and pretty sure it was like their first loss in like damn 5 years. We ended up beating them and all that stuff. And then I got a call from Washington to go play arena football. And that was all she wrote for the semi-pro thing. I did the semi-pro thing for a few years, but then, like I said, once I got to Washington, I went to Tri City Rush, and it's like Pasco, Richland, and Kennewick. It's like 3 little cities all connected or whatever. Went there, had the time of my life, man. Met some good people, met some good teammates. Played, I had like 55 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, won the league MVP, offensive MVP, won the league championship. That was my first professional ring. Obviously, I had like 3 or 4 semi-pro rings already, but that was me getting my foot in the door. And then from there, like I said, we went undefeated. Damn, I mean, I'm sorry, but like probably like 12 of our guys ended up going up to the CIF, IFL, and all that stuff like that. So like I said, I had almost every team, you know, messaging me and stuff like that. Outside of the IFL, I hadn't talked to any IFL teams around that time yet, but every other team from all other leagues were messaging me and stuff. But I heard so much stuff about Coach O in Salina, and he had sent his previous quarterback to the CFL. So obviously I went there. But like I said, when I went there, it was like I said, when I went to Washington, you know, it's professional. We were pros. We got paid and all like this stuff like that. But as far as like the way the programmers ran, the amount of players that showed up and got cut, yeah, Salina was like the real deal. Like it was the real deal. Coach O was the real deal. Like I mean, like as far as like just being professional, like you know what I mean. Like as far as if you want to make it up to the next level, then that's his real expectations. You know, like perfect drives, scoring every time we got the ball. No, like it was like real professional. So it like drilled me into that. So and that was my first experience in that situation. So it was like 4 quarterbacks. Everybody got cut except for me, and then we ended up bringing in Gerard Evans, the guy who played for the Packers. He played with Virginia Tech and all that good stuff like that. And he ended up starting, and I was his backup for a while. Mind you, I was better than him, but like I said, I had to ride the process. My problem was I was just being inconsistent. One day I show up, I'm the best guy here. Next day I show up, oh, he's all right. So that's how I ended up being the backup. But like I said, I got all the other guys cut, so you know that was fine for me at the time. But like I said, I knew I was better than him. That's when I became close friends with this guy named D Wash because I was about to leave, and Ed and Tracy and all those guys. I wanted to leave Salina because, like I said, it was just rough. You know what I'm saying? It's my first like real professional experience. It was just rough at first. You know, I didn't know what to expect, and yeah, I would say I was, you know, being a little crybaby or anything. But like I said, it was just rough. I was just, you know, kind of like in between wanting to go home and stuff like that. But yeah, they had some guys that have been in the arena for a while. I'm still friends with those guys, still cool with those guys, talking me through it, helped me through it, made it through. A few weeks passed. Like I said, the first couple games we played, you know, all right teams. A few weeks passed. I came in the game, threw a game winning touchdown, ended up taking his spot. The next week, beat Billings, but then I ended up getting injured against Billings. I got 6 stitches at halftime. I got a bruised ribs and bruised sternum. All this happened before half, and I finished the game and won the game. So you know that was cool. The next week we ended up playing Omaha, which they hadn't lost a game in a while, and then we ended up losing by 3. But I was still hurt, so I ended up going home after the Omaha loss. When we lost by 3. I ended up going home, healing up and stuff. By the time I healed up, playoffs were starting. Carolina ended up making the championship still. They lost in the championship. You know, I don't mean to talk bad, but I feel like if I was the quarterback that game, we'd have won it. But you know, if we hit or miss it, you know. But that's when I ended up being here. starting this up with Tony and all that stuff like that. He messaged me like, understanding what I was going through in Salina as far as the ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, just a lot of ups and downs. That's why, I'm learning. I learned, as far as try to stay on the even keel no matter what. Like no ups and downs. I don't even like celebrating during the game. I celebrate when the game's over. Like, it's that, that like I just try and balance the ups and downs that much. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I ended up getting here, starting all that stuff. It was all good. Everything was fine. It was fun. First year we had our rough patches at the beginning of the year. We ended up making some changes, winning the championship. So then from that season, I ended up getting a bunch more calls because mind you, we were first year TL, so everybody was still trying to move up or whatever. So we ended up getting a bunch of calls, but I ended up liking Corpus. It was the first F1 team that messaged me. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, Coach J, still one of the realest coaches I've met in my life. So you know what I mean. So Coach J talked to me, and like me and Coach Blankley, we didn't always see eye to eye, but he knows football. He's genuine too. So I wanted to go to Corpus. It didn't work out. It was a bad situation. I guess I didn't know. Like I said, still learning arena, learning financial parts of it. I just know it's a good team. You got a good roster. I'm about to go battle for the starting spot. Stuff like that. Made the roster. Our team's really good. We had our problems or whatever problems we had. It didn't work out, so I ended up coming home early. I ended up asking for my release and coming home early. First time I ever asked for a release, I felt like I basically felt like I quit, on the guys. But like I said, in the situation, it was just best for me and my family. And I mean, the whole team, most of the team ended up leaving anyway because of pay. They ended up figuring it out finishing the season, but that's just because a lot of guys want to play for Coach J. It wasn't like I said, obviously on the business standpoint, it just wasn't a move. It was just bad business. Like I said, I was across the country. I live in North Dakota. I was in Texas. We wasn't getting paid, stuff like that. So we ended up getting paid and stuff, but it was just like late and yeah, just like I said, people had So I just did what's best for me and left. And when I left there, like I said, I felt like I quit. So I was going. I don't know what I was gonna do that, but like after that happened, like I didn't know if I wanted to go play or not. Whatever, whatever, whatever. But yeah, Tony and those guys called me, and I came back. Obviously, like I said, I was sad about them giving them my number away, but it was it was the house, and like I said, house had nothing to do with it and all that stuff like that. So it was cool. What I mean? That's my guy, but. So that started off at the beginning of the year. So it was already just a weird year, like just from the beginning. Whatever
But I
reason,
mean, when you first came here, you had to been thinking, okay, these guys are making a new team. They've never had a team. They're making me the quarterback. I mean, in the back of your mind, there had to be a little bit of hesitation, like, are we really going to do anything here? And then when you guys win a championship, I mean, that had to been like huge. The first season, I mean, the expectations obviously were to be like, hey, this is a new team. Let's get some wins. Let's look good for the fans. Let's convince people that we can bring a team here. But I mean, the championship must have just been amazing. And then the fact that you guys did it 2 seasons in a row was, I mean, you had to have been just, elated.
part of the reason of me coming here is because that was Tony's expectations from the beginning. That's why he brought me in. Obviously, like I said, he could have brought anybody in. He could have brought some guys, he was more familiar with, whatever the case was. But like I said, it was like part of like the reason for me coming here was for me to win, like for us to win the championship. Win the championship out of the last 9 years. I'm pretty sure I won the championship 8 years. And no matter whether it was professional, semi-pro, whatever it was, in the last 9 years, I've won the championship eight of those 9 years. I haven't won the championship one year, and that was the year I got. Well, the year I got hurt, but then, like I said, I ended up coming back, finishing that season with the Harbor Monsters and winning the championship. So, but like I said, I didn't win a ring with Carolina. So that's the one I mean. That's the only one I didn't win with any team I played for. So
So the fact that Coach Tony O'Neill had so much belief in you and brought you in made it feel even better. The fact that, like you said, he could have went and got anybody, but the fact that his whole mentality was, I'm bringing you in to win a championship, and that's why I'm bringing you in. That must have felt great.
oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, that felt great. That's why this year was a little bit more complicated than obviously from the outside looking in, everything always seems fine. That's just how we professionals carry ourselves. It's good having leaders that are real professionals or try to be real professionals, try to be leaders. So never nothing ever got out of them like that. But that's how it was the first year, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, this year you shrink the story. It was the same result, but with between that in between the lines, yeah, it was I don't know what's going on. It's completely different than the first year. But like I said, we worked it out, and now Jake is keeping me here. He's letting me lead this thing, and he has bigger expectations for me. And it's not expectations as far as feel like I need to do this. I feel like from Jake it's expectations of he knows I can do it. He believes I can do it. So you know what I mean. So it's just a like I said, it's a weight off your shoulder. Even though I got all these expectations, like stuff like that, the little things like that, it's just a weight off your shoulder.
All right. Well, I just want to bring up one more thing before we jump to the 20 questions. Now, you guys just recently did a free football clinic, which is pretty cool in the community. For the at the Family Freedom Center on January 12th. Tell me how that went. Did it go over really well?
Oh heck yeah, it went really good. The kids are so excited. Obviously, when we first walked in, they were like sitting down and stuff like that. But Q, our receiver, he wanted to go start playing with the kids already. So they got up jumping, but they weren't supposed to get up. So obviously they had to go sit back down and all that stuff like that. But now when we first walked in, it was like 10 to 15 kids. But by the time it got started, it's probably like 30 or 40 kids. Yeah, everybody had fun. It was like girls, boys. Yeah, it was a blast. Man. Got to meet our new defensive coach. So yeah, it was just like a win, 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 win for everybody. We had fun.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it overwent that it went really well, and it sounds like it's something that needs to happen every year.
For sure. Shit, we like Jake, like I said, if they bring it up to Jake, Jake loves doing that stuff, and we love doing that stuff. He knows we love doing that stuff, and even if we didn't, we wouldn't have a choice because
No, and I think more programs need to reach out in this community and do more things for the kids in the community, and I stand behind that 100%. So,
yeah,
all
you know
right,
me.
so you ready for these random 20 questions?
Yes, sir.
All right, question one. Tell me about your background and your upbringing a little bit, just so the fans, because we all know that you're not from here, but a lot of the fans don't know any more than that.
I'm from New Iberia, Louisiana, man. Born and raised. Um, Raised basically with my grandma and my mom for the most part. Always was with my mom, no matter what. My brothers were with my dad and their grandma. That's just how it was. Went to every elementary school in town. Moved around everywhere. Lived in a lot of different places and stuff like that. But like I said, I mean, everything I went through always was always like I said, even now to till today, even like I said, even before I understood what I was really doing, what I was really thinking, everything I went through, I always tried to make it positive, even though before I knew, the impact it would have on me today. Like it's just how it was, it's what it was, it's how my mom was. No matter what we was going through, she was always happy. You could never tell. So I just grabbed that from her, and that's just how we move.
Yeah, because if a lot of fans don't know, if they don't know you personally, if they haven't seen you outside the game, you're a pretty humble guy.
Yes, sir, for sure.
And so you think that was brought up with your mom instilled that in you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, man, it was never too high, never too low, because a lot of times we were low, and you couldn't tell. Like I said, a lot of times we were low and we were high. So what I mean, it's just like I said, that was just always the thing. Like we went through a lot. I went through a lot, a lot, a lot. It was always going through something. So like I said, that was just the best way to even like I said, I talk to people nowadays, a lot of people are like, dang, like tell people my story, stuff like that. Like, dang, you traumatized. Like, you know what I'm saying? Growing up where I grew up at, I didn't even see that as being traumatized. I know people going through worse. I know people that's happy that's going through worse. So it's not, like I said, it was always a lesson to be learned and getting better from the situation. So I thought, what I mean? But yeah, it's probably traumatizing for most people. But like I said, my mom was a strong lady. My grandma was a strong lady. Every, my family was a strong family. Whatever people went through, they always tried to help each other, however it was. And my mom, like I said, she was always humble. She wouldn't want to ask for help. We figured out our own, and we always figured it out. Whatever we had to go through to figure it out, we figured it out. So
All right. All right. Question two. Do you have any hobbies outside the sport of football?
yeah, man. Like I said, I love sports. I love basketball. I'm telling you, if I was 3 inches, 2 inches taller, people say I would probably been in the NFL, but I'm telling you, if I was 2 inches taller, I would not play football. I would play basketball. 100%. Love playing basketball.
All right. Question three. What has been the lowest point in your career and what has been the highest point in your career up to this point?
Honestly, the lowest point of my career mentally for me was last year. Um, this the last season I just passed up, and it's crazy because I mean, basically the lowest and the highest point happened simultaneously. You know what I mean? Like I said, that's why it's so crazy. I'm so blessed. I'm so happy. I'm always so happy. Like I said, you even when a situation was going on, you wouldn't know. Like I'm just always this is how it is. You
But
know what I'm
now you say last year was your lowest point as well. Can you explain that? Because you won the championship.
saying? Like I said, it looks so good from the outside looking in. That's just you know what I'm saying. That's how we try to keep it. Like as just a professional
Okay.
program. There's always bad stuff going on everywhere. I promise you. I don't care what they say, how it looks. It's just life. It's business.
And
Whatever
then
you
because you won the championship and everything else, that was kind of the highest point too.
championship. You know what I mean? If I wouldn't have won a championship, I still would have been fine going through that. Like I said, the sequence of events that happened. Like I said, not a lot of people know, man. I don't like talking about it. I don't like, I don't like. I just don't like speaking negative about nothing. But yeah, I was about to go home in the middle of the season last year. You know what I mean? Like I said, nobody know. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, I was about to get sent home. Let me say that. You know what I'm saying? It is
Okay.
what it is. So like I said, you see how it ended up working out. So like I said, that's why it was such a low point for me because I couldn't grasp it. I couldn't understand what was going on. Obviously, you play the season out. Wow, this guy's playing amazing. But and that's what it wasn't even like it was just like a morale thing. Like it was just like my spirit was lifted. You know what I'm saying in that dark time for me for football. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, at the end of the day, it's football. That's why I don't go showing my emotions to everybody. I have kids. I have they got a life. They're more important. Like I'm not about to go crash out and do all this crazy stuff because I'm going through some stuff. Like nah, it's just like I'm saying that's selfish. So I try not to
Okay.
be selfish in most of those situations because I'm still representing other people, represent myself, represent the brand. You know what I'm saying? Even if like I said, just like growing up in life, even if the situation's bad, whoop de do, get over it and figure it out. You know what I mean? That's just how it was. But like I say, I got really really blessed in that time when everything was really dark. So I'll never forget it, man. Like I said, I had low points before that. I had high points before that. But it's just crazy how it happened like so simultaneously and so close together that yeah, like obviously it's like the peak.
Okay. So question 4, do you have any football superstitions?
Oh, I don't really like drinking a lot of water before the game. Uh, I mean, not really. I
Do you
know.
have to put your equipment on a certain way every single game? Do you got to eat a certain meal before every game? Do you
Typically, I don't even eat on game day. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just like I say, my day like I don't. I won't say I don't celebrate anything, but I don't like like I say, even on game day, like me going out to eat is like gifting myself, like what I'm saying. So I try not to do none of that until I earn it, just on that day. You know what I'm saying? Just as game day, so I just try and keep it, narrow minded, like throughout the whole day. All I'm thinking about is the next snap, the next snap, the next snap. So I'm not even really hungry. I'm already thinking about the next snap. And like I said, it doesn't matter who I'm playing against. Like I don't, that doesn't make a difference for me. It's gonna be the same way for me every play. I'm like have no spit in my mouth, no nothing on the first play of the game. Right when I snap the ball, everything goes back to normal. My hands are really dry. Like first play of the game, my hands are like dry. My mouth is dry. Everything's dry. The second I snap the ball and the ball touches my hand, everything goes
okay? All right, question 5. What is something that your fans don't know about you?
normal. Something my fans don't know, bro. I was almost adopted once because mom was homeless at the time, and one of my friends hey, seniors and all that stuff like that asked me to come stay over because I wanted to stay over anyway. Went to stay over there, had the time of my life. First time I left Louisiana outside of going to Texas when I was with those guys. First time playing sports. Like so once I got there, that was my first time playing baseball, it was my first time playing football, it was my first time playing like everything I played, it was my first time for everything. It was my first time actually living in a house. Like, so it was just like I said, it was just crazy. But yeah, like I said, my mom, it was just a thing of like my mom's still my mom no matter what. But it was just a thing of like, it's a better situation for you right now because we can't figure it out yet. But obviously I knew we were gonna figure it out. She figured it out as she always does. And then yeah, my grandma had something to do with that too, but like about me not getting adopted. But yeah, that almost happened.
Okay. All right, question 6. If the mayor of Duluth was willing to name something after you, what would you want named in this city after you?
Um, I want like a little kids center or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool. That's cool. Most people say, an arena, a street. That's pretty cool, man. A kid center.
Show up every time, all the time. Once my kids get older, they show up all the time, help out, do stuff like that. Yeah,
All right.
longevity.
Question 7. What kind of things do you do to give back to the community?
Man, I do as much as I can. Obviously, I'm not rich or nothing like that. So I'm getting paid more this year, but still, I'm not rich or nothing like that. So I just try and give my time. I feel like, time is like one of the most expensive things. So I just try to give my time, just be there for whoever, anybody, fans, kids, whoever, just anytime I can, whenever I can.
Okay.
Obviously, like it's money, I'll build a little, build something, a little something more. But as far as me not having, being rich enough like that, I just give my time, my presence, and all that stuff like that, and hopefully it does
All
the
right.
job.
All right. Question 8. If you were an insect, what insect would you be?
Um, Man, I want to be like the most rare insect. I can't even think about that right now. I'd probably be like a centipede or something. Everybody's scared of.
I don't know. I see you more like a praying mantis.
No, man, they gonna get smushed.
Well, actually, they get eaten by the females. So that's how they die. All right. Question 9. If you could win a trophy or an award in something other than football, what would it be?
I win a lot of trophies in basketball. I'm not gonna lie to you. I play a lot of city leagues and stuff like that. So, but man, it'd probably be the pool or bowling.
Pool or bowling?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at both. I'm better at pool than I am at bowling, but I'm pretty good at bowling.
Okay. Question 10. What's something that you're passionate about besides football or basketball? Because we've learned you're just as passionate about basketball.
I'm passionate. I say, man, I'm passionate about, you know, just seeing people happy, making people happy. Coming through for, like I said, coming through for people. You know what I'm saying? It's like a passion for me. Like just being able to come through and have people relying on me and like I said, coming through. I just love coming through. Like it's just, like that's a passion for me for sure.
Okay. So, question 11. Who's the one football player, alive or dead, that you'd want to sit down and have a conversation with if you could?
Man, it's crazy. Obviously, I'm probably gonna say Tom Brady, but it might be Cam. I'm not gonna lie. Cam might be like my favorite player ever, but
Is
well,
that
like
Cam Newton you're referring to?
but like I said, as far as the quarterback position, I feel like I need to go talk to Tom Brady.
Okay.
Even listening to him on this podcast and all that stuff like that, he sounds completely different than all the other analysis or announcers or whatever you want to call him. He just sounds like it's like a genuine football thing when he's talking. It's never a biased thing, or yeah, it's like it's just a genuine like going through the game. You see no numbers, you see no nothing. You just going flow of the game.
Okay. All right. Question 12. What's the craziest or the funniest story that ever happened between you and a fan?
Um, in Washington, I got kissed on my face. That was about it.
You got
Uh,
kissed by a lady?
yeah, that was about it. None of the crazy that happened for real.
Yeah, but I got to hear this. Some fan just ran up and kissed you on the lips or what?
But like, I was like after the game, I was taking off my helmet. After the game was over, after shaking everybody's hand or whatever. And she was like, "Can I hug you?" I was like, "Sure." And then she got me and kissed me.
Any tongue involved?
Nah, nah.
All right. Question 13. If you go on a road trip by yourself, where do you usually go? Just to kind of get away from everybody and just, relax and kind of decompress. Where do you go?
Um, right now, I go to Pine City.
Okay.
That's my place to go, decompress, relax, refocus, rejuvenate, all that good stuff like that.
All right, question 14. If you could play one-on-one basketball with any NBA player, past or present, who would it be?
Man, I hate this question, man. Obviously, it'd be Kobe. Rest in peace, my guy. But yeah, it'd be Kobe for sure. No questions.
Okay.
Nobody. Not even. Yeah,
All right, question 15. Have you ever had to save someone's life?
a bunch of times actually.
Can you give me one brief story?
You know, a real story.
Yeah.
I was playing basketball at the park one time back at home, and the guy showed up, and because we were beating the other team or whatever, like really bad, blah blah blah. The guys started fussing. They were from like a different town actually, and then one of them like they took off running to their car, and then grabbed their guns or whatever, and started chasing us. Well, one of my friends he actually had a gun, but we were still running or whatever. We were pretty far away from him, but they kind of started getting close. Well, my friend turns around and starts shooting, and uh, he had a button on the back of the gun, but he didn't press it, so he didn't know obviously. But I told him he had to press it. He started shooting. But yeah, that's a real life story right there.
Well,
So much,
wait a minute. How did you save somebody's life? You saved his life because you told him how to use the gun?
yeah, for sure. It was all of it. But nah, nobody got hurt. Nothing bad happened. But nah, one of
Okay.
my friends drowned. One time, I had a bunch of situations, man. Some crazy stuff.
Okay. All right. Question 17. What's something that you're absolutely afraid of?
Absolutely afraid of losing my kids.
Losing your kids. Yeah,
You
that's a
know,
good one.
weird dreams and stuff at night. Yeah, so yeah, no, I'm absolutely afraid of that for sure.
Okay. Question 18. So, being a quarterback, obviously, you got to use your hands. You got to be pretty good with your hands, honestly. So, are you artistic in any way with your hands as far as building things, painting, drawing, photography, mechanics, things like that?
I could build a lot of stuff in my life. I could build a lot of stuff. I used to, me and my friend back whenever we were younger, his grandpa used to pick us up at like 5 o'clock in the morning every single day in the summertime. We worked till like 4 or 5, working on houses, building like literally breaking down houses and building houses from the bottom like to the top. Yeah, it used to be crazy, but I can't really draw that well. I could fix stuff pretty good, but I can't really draw, paint, and that stuff like that. I wish I could paint though. I actually love like looking at paints and stuff like that, and watching people paint, but I know I can't paint.
Okay. Question 19. Can you tell me an interesting story out of your career?
Um, um, oh well, my freshman year in college when I was at Fergus, first 5 games I played kick return, wide receiver, and safety. By the time the season ended, I led the team in interceptions. I only played DB the first 5 games, so basically once I got the quarterback, because they had like a sophomore quarterback from the area or whatever, blah 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 blah. But he was cool. He was a cool guy. Obviously, everybody knew I was the best quarterback in the team and all that stuff like that. Shit, I was the best athlete on the team at the time, honestly. But so I played kick return. I led the team in interceptions, and I played receiver. Probably had like I think it was like 23 catches for like 218 yards, something like that. Before I got the quarterback, played quarterback for the last 5 games of the season. Ended up throwing like 2,700 yards, like 37 touchdowns. Ran like 12. Yeah, I did some crazy stuff at first when I was at Fergus. I had two
Wow.
wide receivers. Paris Woods, he was second in the nation behind D.D. Westbrook, and then Lakeem, who was fourth in the nation receiving yards.
Nice. All right.
Yeah,
Last question. Question 20. If you could change one thing in our society right now, what would it be?
it's like a broad question, but I don't know, man. It just just make I just want everybody to love each other, man. That's it. Just everybody love each other. Everybody, put somebody else before themselves, stuff like that. Just the little stuff. Just like I said, just like growing up as a kid. You only know what what you see. You know what I mean? What's around you. That's all you know. So obviously where I grew up at, and then where my kids are growing up at, what I knew at the time at the age he's at, and then what he knows is completely different. Like it's just, but obviously there's a positive side. It can happen. Positive stuff can happen. Like I said, my situation now reverting to my kids. I just try and not let them even know, see, or hear anything that I ever went through or anything like that. So you know, like I said, as far as speaking as a kid, you know, we only know what they show us and stuff. So I just feel like everybody needs to like reset their mind or something, and you know, and like I said, this because I feel like it's just so easy, but like I said, people get greedy, people get selfish, people, you know, I just wish everybody could love each other. That's it.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking time to come on the podcast. If you got anything to say to your fans or to your family or your friends before we end, go ahead.
Nope, man. Love everybody. Appreciate everybody. Thank everybody. I'm thankful. I'm working harder than ever. And we'll come through, get this shit done. Bring us another championship. Make all my people happy. Can't wait to meet my teammates. And that's it, man.
All right. And one more time, anybody needs any answers to any questions or wants to find out about the new players, the new staff, what's going on with the schedule, definitely go to mnmonsters.com. It'll answer all your questions. And once again, you know, if you need to buy a house, contact Jacob Lambert. He's the man. All right. Hold on. And the truth has spoken.